I've had my garlic dry now for almost 2 weeks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to string it up for storage. Once I've stored it in here, I'm going to take it up to home and put it in the garage where it's nice and cool and dry. So I shall just show you the process. What I'll do is take this one. This is very small, but it's a good example. As you can see, the neck has gone completely. So what I'm going to do is cut it off to roughly the width of my hand, and just take it through there, wrap it round on itself like that, and then pull it down, and that's one done. Let's take the next one, same process. Cut the bottom off, cut the roots off, just get rid of any loose bits of skin. And again, in, all the way around, back on itself, and pull it down and just work my way up the string. So I'm going to do this with all the onions and all the garlic. I won't make you watch me do it for the next hour. So again, go to the opposite side this time. So in, all the way around, out the other side, and pull it down. Now so you just repeat the process until they're all done. You can see in the background, that's the garlic all done. I think some of it wasn't quite ready because the necks were still a bit stiff, but these onions are a lot softer, so they should work a lot better. You just wrap it round, pull it down. That's much better already. It's Wednesday evening and that's a feeding night for the greenhouse and the polytunnel, and tonight I'm going to use comfrey. And in the past I've just poured in the comfrey, just poured in a good glug of comfrey, filled the watering can up with water, and away I went. But yesterday I had a look online and they recommend the ratio of mixing it is 15:1. So it's 15 parts water to 1 part comfrey, and it's a 5 litre watering can. So what I did, I worked out how much I'd need in mil and put a little mark on this old pop bottle. So I'm going to fill it roughly up to the 5, top the rest of the can up with water, rainwater from the water butt, and then the ratio should be a little bit better. I think I've probably been underfeeding them in the past because there's no way I've been putting that much in. So I'm going to give it a go now and see what happens. And the, the tomatoes seem to have grown about a foot in the past day or so. I'm going to have to put some extra canes in, I think, to the roof, because some of them are reaching the top. I've got some nice tomatoes coming as well. I've got some little beauties there, and that one, and that's my hand. So it's not doing too well. There's not a lot on it, but what there is looking good. I've noticed though on some of them they've got some little spots. I'm not sure what they are. I'm not too worried. I'll have a bit of a look tonight, see if I can figure out what they are. And the melon, I tied that string on Monday, and it was at the top of the plant, so it's grown that much in 2 days. So the wicking system is definitely working, and the melon's enjoying the conditions in here. It's Friday afternoon again, and I've come down to the plot after work, and my tomatoes are starting to outgrow the canes. So what I've done is I've put a support beam just to of the plastic coated garden canes across the roof. I don't know how well you can see them. I've drilled a hole in the roof and I've secured them in a couple of places all the way along. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put a screw into the wooden batten and run a piece of wire and wrap it around the bar, and then that'll allow the tomatoes to carry on climbing until they get to the middle of the greenhouse, if any of them. I know these will, but these seem to be quite a lot shorter. But so I'm going to do that now, and then I'll bring you back when it's done. Not sure how well this will show up on the video, but that's one side done. So they've all gone up to the roof, down to the mid beam, and then I've just put a piece across the centre just to strengthen it up a little bit and to give me a little bit more room to walk. So I'm going to do the same on this side now. It'll be a little bit more difficult because of the netting that's up, but I think we should be able to do it. It's nice to see that normal British summers have resumed. It's currently raining, so I can't do anything else. I've done the greenhouse, put the strings up. So what I'm going to do now is just spend an hour getting rid of these surface weeds in the polytunnel. I'll do the same on the other greenhouse, and then I think if the rain doesn't stop by then, I might have to call it a day because there's not a lot else I can do. I can't get outside and do much. I do want to do some harvesting today, but that's not going to happen. So I should get on with the weeding. The rain has finally stopped for now. It's still a bit grey, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into this small cage that I've built, and I'm going to harvest mange 2. I can't see any more flowers. Well, there's a few, but not many. So I'm going to cut all the plants off at the base, take them into the polytunnel and harvest the mange 2. So I've stripped all the plants out. I've got myself a little punnet, and hopefully I should be able to fill that and maybe another one with what's on here. I've got to say, I'm very happy with that. It's more there than I thought there was, and there's probably another 30% of those that I've ate while I've been picking them off. They really are delicious, lovely and sweet. Looking forward to having some of those later. Right, now I'm going to tip out one of the buckets into the wheelbarrow and see what sort of potatoes I can get out of it. I forgot to say in the last clip, but the mange 2 were at Oregon Sugar Pod, and I've got another half a packet left, so I might sow some more of those because they're really nice. And now what I'm doing, this is the second bag of Pentland Javelin, which are the first earlies. It's just starting to rain, so I'm not going to set the camera up for this. I'm just going to harvest them and bring you back when I've done to see how many I get out. There's not quite as many in there as I thought there would be, but as I was emptying out, I discovered there was only 2 seed potatoes in there, so that's not a bad return on 2 seed potatoes, and they're a lot bigger than when I harvested the Pentland Javelin 2 weeks ago. So I'm quite happy with that, and there's enough for a good meal for us over the weekend. And then what I've done with the bag, I've sieved through the compost, put it back in, and I've popped in some alderman peas, which will follow on from the ones that I've got in the fruit cage. So I'm going to pop this in there now. So these are the alderman that I sowed earlier in the season, and there's plenty of pods on them. They just need to fatten up a little. The ones at the bottom aren't too bad, but the ones at the top are still very thin. So I should give them a week or so. With this rain that we're having and the warm weather, I think they should soon ripen up. And I've just noticed, as I was starting to weed, that we have our first raspberries. So that'll be nice. In fact, I'll try one right now. Really soft. Delicious. It's not all good though. Something has gone through the stem. I think there's a ant's nest or something there, and they've chewed through the stem on the melon. That's pretty much gone. See there's not a lot of stem left. I'll leave it in, see if it picks up. I don't think it will. Oh well, not to worry, it's not as if I haven't got enough. So I've built up the tall brassica cage, which should be more than adequate for what I've put in on the top end of the bed. I've put in 5 kohlrabi. I'll come round so you can see better. Yeah, so here 5 kohlrabi, and then there's 6 Cavolo Nero cauliflower interplanted. I'm going to give them all good watering and pull the netting over before the pigeons swoop in to get the last of the peas and start on these. They're really dry in their pots, so I'm going to really water them in well, and hopefully they'll get established and be away. It's Sunday morning. I've just been round with the mower and the strimmer and sorted out the paths on this plot, on the other plot, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plant the leeks. I've taken up the shallots that were in this bed, so I'm going to use my bulb planter, put the holes in and get them in these musselburgh leeks, and another plot neighbour gave me some of his spares just to make up any gaps, so I'll get those in now. So now we have 2 rows of leeks, and what we do with the leeks is just use a bulb planter to put the hole in, and then I'll simply fill each hole up with water and leave them like this. Eventually the soil will wash into the holes, but I think the idea is the section of leek that's under the soil will stay white, which is the flesh that you want to eat, and because there's no soil impacting it, it can grow larger, so it should have big thick leeks. And I've still got quite a few left, so I'm going to do another row over here and this little bit of ground that I've got spare, so I'll get that in and I'll water them all in. So that brings us to the end of another busy week on the plot. Hope you've enjoyed the video and you'll come back next time to see what I'm up to. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and I shall see you all next week. Thank you very much, and goodbye.